Today we have a Nissan Navara that isn't charging properly and the customer's complaining of battery light on the dash. Quick and easy way to actually check if your battery is charging is that when the engine is running, you connect up your multimeter, you should be reading about 14 volts. This one, when the engine is running, is reading 11 volts and under. So we know that's not charging properly. If your battery isn't charging, it could be a wiring issue. It's not necessarily that the alternator doesn't have any output. So you can check the output by actually putting the terminals from your multimeter. There's our positive terminal on the back of the alternator. If you put the positive from the multimeter onto that and find another earth, you should be able to see the difference. So that should work out as 14 volts if the alternator is working correctly. I've checked this one. It's a little bit awkward for me to check it on camera at the same time. But yeah, we're getting the same reading as we are at the battery. So that leads me to believe that the alternator itself has become faulty and now we need to replace it. So the first thing we need to do is disconnect the battery so we're not working on a live system. Everything that's in the way of the alternator now needs to be moved out of the way. So we remove the intake pipes and the pipes that go to the airbox. We need to disconnect all of the wiring looms that are also in the way, including the earth strap for the wiring loom. Whilst we're here, we can also get at the connections on the back of the alternator, such as the multi-plug and the actual live terminal that comes off of that alternator as well. For ease of access, it's also a good idea to remove the airbox just to take that out of the way. And it gives us access to this other little bolt for us to move the wiring loom out of the way. Just in case, it's also a good idea to put a little glove or something to cover the pipe going into the intercooler, just so there's no debris or anything else gets in there whilst you're working. It's awkward to actually get the camera down enough whilst I'm working to show you me taking the auxiliary belt off. But I'm using a shouldered 14mm spanner, and if you rotate that clockwise in a downward motion, it moves the pulley away and slackens off, so you can actually take the belt off of the alternator. So with the belt off and all of the wiring looms to the back of the alternator disconnected and out of the way, we can remove the bottom bolt, which is a 14mm. I'm using a shouldered 14 spanner, and the top bolt is a 12mm, so I'm using another shouldered spanner for that. Now that the old alternator is off, it's a good opportunity to check it to make sure that the new alternator is the same as the old one. I've checked that the part numbers match, that everything's the same, the mounting, brackets. It's very important that you check these because there's some variants on some alternators that have these in slightly different places, so you want to make sure that they are right. And also the multi-plug. You don't want to, having put it all back together, to realise that the multi-plug is slightly different. But in this case, we are good to go. So putting the new alternator back in, it's just that everything is in the reverse order which we did to take it out. So it bolts back in again with those 14 and 12mm nuts. We put the auxiliary belt back on once it's secure, and we can actually plug back in the multi-plug and the live terminal whilst we're here. We can then start to plug everything back in, and we'll start it up and check what our voltage is. So with the engine running and our multimeter connected up to the battery, we see now we're getting 14.2 volts, which is exactly what it should be, and our battery light is off on the dash. Thanks for watching, guys. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and more videos come soon. Cheers.